Welcome everybody to the Rally Cry podcast. I am your host, Angel, and today you're here because you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to understand the mindset of success and what is that like, right? We hear so many people that come on the podcast and talk about perspective, but if there's one thing you can tell is that it's just about the same. And if you're driving, if you're cleaning, or whatever it is, it could be on Apple, Spotify, on YouTube, I just appreciate your time and the fact that you trust me with your time as well. Today is gonna be a great episode. I have one of my guys here, Darius Johnson. Yes, Visionary Acts. Yes. How you feeling today, man?
I feel amazing, man. You know, it's grateful to be on this podcast and you having me on here. So
yeah, I remember last time we were shooting and then like we got a couple, trials and tribulations.
Yeah, little hiccups, but we're gonna redeem from that. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I just want to start with everything that you do, and just from the other side, like as a consumer or a customer, you can say. Darius here, he has, NYBU, which by the way, if you didn't go to NYBU, you missed out. I'm just saying. And I also had the opportunity, which I truly appreciate you to be able to, do the networking activity, connecting with people with the Icebreaker card game. Yeah. But honestly, NYBU, just in my perspective, and I'd like for you to add on to it. Is really for people to come together, entrepreneurs, and then he has scholarships where you're be able to empower the youth and like talk about how they can use that to funds for school or anything like that. And then we have some public speakers that come in every year, something different. I know last year was June Archer, and then we had what's her name from the news? I forgot.
Oh, you're talking about Cindy? Not Cindy. I'm sorry. Wow. No, Sierra Speller.
Yes, there we go. Yes. So like just opportunities to meet people just as such. Is there anything that I've missed here? I know there's so many to it.
It's a lot. It's all about just making sure that we celebrate the businesses and entrepreneurs that's in the local city of Springfield. Give scholarships, and gratefully we was able to give 3 $1,000 scholarships to people for not only their educational purposes but for the entrepreneurship career as well. So they don't have to put it to school if they want to put it towards some new equipment, a laptop, whatever. They're able to use that funds for it.
Oh, and you also was able to do a giveaway for a brand new TV.
Yeah, we did give away a little raffle, but it was connected to your activity. So people who got the most signatures or connected to the most people, quote unquote, was able to get the TV. So
right, that was so awesome. It's just a dope event. Like everybody has to be elegant, wear a dress, wear a suit. If you have the opportunity to go for a suit, as if it's me, I'm like, let's do it.
This is the time to do it, for sure.
Exactly, especially going into the new year. So, oh my God. I would like to break the ice with you. So, go ahead. We're going to break the ice.
Breaking the ice?
Absolutely.
Enough said.
Yeah, there you go. See, you get it. Yes. So, if you guys have not got your Enough Said communication deck, we got it on deck right here. We're going to play it. But you can do so in the link below. If it's on Instagram and you follow us, you can also do it in the link there below as well. But yeah, it's just a good way to break the ice, and we're going to do it here. Friends, family, whichever you call it. So, there's a thing that I call it, and it's called Destin. And I'm destining you because I'm going to, shuffle this real quick and make sure everything is good to go. Okay. And then I'm going to have you pick a card.
Pick a card?
Just pick a card and let's just break the ice.
All right, let's get it going.
Go ahead.
Let's get right here. Get right to it.
Go ahead.
I got to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, is there a story on how you got your first name? Is that for me or for you?
For you.
Oh, it's for me. Okay.
I'll answer too, though.
Okay. All right. Is there? So there is, actually. Oh my God. So I have this thing where everybody keeps calling me Darius.
I was one of those people.
Yeah, for sure. It is. I had friends I've known for 10 years still mess up and call me Darius. But so I was born in Alabama, Birmingham, and funny enough, the hospital that I was born at doesn't exist anymore. So when they were, I think my dad came up with my name. My dad and my mom, one of them, I can't remember. But when they named me, they messed up on my birth certificate. So my name was supposed to have 2 R's. But because I don't know what they did, they only put 1 R on there. So now for the rest of my life, I was dealing with 1 R. But my dad told me, he's like, it's supposed to be with 2. But they messed up and they don't exist anymore. So I would have to go through laws and try to get my whole name changed for that. But I'm like, I'll just.
Yeah, that's just to put an extra R. You could just tell people it's Darius.
Yeah, but even so, I'll tell people it's Darius. I even tell Spanish people, it's easier if you say Darius. Darius. They're like, Darius.
I start saying Darius. That sounds cool.
It's way better. Yeah. I'm like, it's cool. If you can't say Darius, I'd rather you say Darius. It sounds closer to Darius than Darius.
Yeah.
But that's...
Darius almost sounds like a little dangerous. Darius, Bobby.
Darius, dale.
Yo, I'm gonna have to put it
Yeah.
the way it sounds, Darius is probably like the ending a little bit different.
Yeah, because how it's spelled in Spanish is like Darios, I think. Yeah, Ios.
Yeah.
But I spell it Darrius.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to put that in my context. Darius, Bobby.
Darius,
Yo,
Bobby.
Darius. They're gonna be like, who's Darius?
I'm like, Dale.
There we go. We're gonna have to start doing that. Yeah, so for me, it's interesting. My name actually was in the collaboration with my aunt. So my mom named me Angel Jose Rios, and then my cousin is named Angel. Is Jose Angel, and I forgot what was his last name. But what it was is that we just switched.
Okay.
So it was purposely to do that. So my cousin, I think we were born around the same time.
Is he your first cousin?
Yes, he's my first cousin. He's my uncle's son.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, so his name is Jose Angel, and I'm Angel Jose. And Jose is also my uncle's name. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
All right, so it's all connected. Okay.
Literally. So that's how I got my name.
Gotcha,
So that's simple as
gotcha.
that. Enough said?
Enough said.
Yeah. So I was thinking about like all the things that you do, and you got Deluxe, which is something we're gonna talk about later.
Yes,
so make sure
on.
you guys stay tuned for that, because that's something that's coming up. And I gotta tell you, if you guys missed out at NYBU, you don't want to miss out on this one. And I'm gonna tell you specifically why at the end.
At the end.
At the end.
For sure.
But with everything that you got going on, we're talking about community work. We're talking about collaboration with other people. We're talking about the creativity, what you do. We're talking about you do photography, videography, and showcasing the things that you do for not what you do, but also what other people do. So it's like it's almost giving at the same time.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I guess it just comes from, because my family, like a lot of the stuff of what I do now is always revolved around the effects of what my family was. Like we didn't, not all families are perfect. All families have their ups and downs, their nicks. But the one thing I always realized is that my family always found a way to have an experience that come together. So whether it was at holidays or Thanksgiving or 4th of July, whatever the case may be, they always found a way to come together. So when I came into the world of business and I started interacting with people and coming across people with different business elements, I started realizing that there weren't experiences that I was used to, which is whether it's at home, like having birthday parties or movie nights or whatever. It's like, well, there's ways you can implement this into the business realm or into my professional career. So that's when I started doing like movie nights, or I remember I did one at the Eastville Mall when what was it called, when the Harder They Fall came out. It was that Western movie. And then I also did my own premieres and screenings. I did networking parties, dinner parties. I've done game nights. I've done, you name it. So it's just like I always wanted to be a part of experiences or creating experiences. We even did a trap prom. So, but the trap stands for, it was a tremendously, I think it's something rising. I know my team's gonna kill me for this. That's I'm sorry, but the whole purpose of it is for prosperity. It was like to rise and prosper. So it was the whole purpose of it was to give recognition to the people who don't usually get the recognition from the outside world because they don't see them. So it was like, well, we want to let you know that we see you and the things that you've done, even if you try to get washed over. So we give them that respect, the honor. We have a great time. We get dressed up. And it's like prom, but for adults. And a lot of people who didn't get a chance to experience what prom was able to re-experience it as an adult. So
I love that. Yeah, no, I didn't go to my prom, so like you need to do another one.
Yeah. Honestly,
and you've done a lot of events. At least the ones that I've came across too. You do pretty much a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
Bringing people together and stuff.
Yeah.
And
but it's not. But the thing is, event hosting wasn't my forte. That wasn't my thing I wanted to do. That was just something I felt like I needed to do because of what I was doing. So I started off as just music and video. So my brother was the artist, he was the face of it, and then I was the one behind the scenes doing the engineering, the recording. And so as I'm doing that, within the years he started having a kid, so he had to fall off a little bit to take care of his son. But once I started implementing everything else, I started realizing how, I can start connecting this. Okay, well, if I'm doing an event and I'm doing photography, all right, we can take pictures of it. All right, well, I already know I can do videos of it. I got to do a commercial for it. Or I do graphics. Or I can make my own flyers. So I don't necessarily need to outsource and do flyers. I can just do the flyer on my own. Or I need a logo or do logo design. So everything was able to make sense. So I didn't need to outsource so much. But I noticed that I needed to outsource when it started becoming bigger. And I was like, well, okay, well, I need to hire a photographer. I need to hire a videographer. not really so much on the graphics because I know I can handle that, but it might be a point where I might need to hire someone to do graphics. And I've gotten people to do certain gigs where I had an overflow and I'm like, yo, do you have time to do this? Like, all right, I'll pay you. Like, what's your cost? All right, I'll pay your cost and I'll send it off. But it's funny how that even became a part of the business when it was just something that I felt like was just needed and what I felt like was around me. But it felt good.
Yeah, no. One thing you mentioned and I was thinking about was like, of course, like family have their up and downs.
Yes.
I can definitely relate. Nothing's perfect. In that moment when you were finding out that, oh, this is something that I really like, music and videography, and then doing it with your brother. How was family supportive in that idea? Sometimes they might like, oh, you should go to school, you should do this because there's a traditional way that you should do things. Was family supportive in that? And if so, not. How did you respond to that?
So it's iffy. It's a double-edged sword, right? So growing up around my family, like my uncle, he's one of my main influences because he was in music.
Shout out to Uncle.
Shout out to Uncle, Uncle Gotti, and he was well known in the city. He was a producer. He had Gate Entertainment. He had his crew. He connected with all parts of the city, made impacts, traveled outside of the city, connected with big famous artists. So he's done his part. So I was inspired by that. But I've always gotten the love aspect from the family, like, oh yeah, go ahead, do your thing, we support you, da da da, so on and so forth. But it always got tricky when the events will actually happen, or outside of the events, or outside of the gathering, I don't see them. So it's just like, okay, well, I don't necessarily get the support of presence or showing up. I might get the words after, like, oh, I seen what you did, yo, that's what's up, yo, congrats, keep doing your thing. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but then after a while, it starts to feel like, where's the real support? Because like, I'm coming to these family events, or I'm coming to your thing that you're talking about, or your New Year's party or whatever. It's like, okay, cool, let's do that, but I have something that's actually impacting the community that we live in, and I can't get your support, or I can't even get you to step up into the room. I remember I put it, actually, for NYBU, I put an invitation out to my family. It was like, hey, I got some free tickets. I just want y'all to show up. Let me know if you want to come. Only one person responded. And he didn't even get a chance to come, which I get, but that was one of my first cousins who always shows up, and he's looked out for me. But it felt weird when nobody responded. Like, not even, oh, I can't make it, or I need to get my hair done those last minute. I would understand that everybody read it and didn't say nothing.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And that was just recent. And that was just me just testing the waters. I already knew that family wasn't going to be my biggest support because I've been doing events for years. I've been doing a lot for years, and they don't show up. So I always be like, all right, well, even though I know these people outside of my family aren't my family, but I hold on to the people who support me in what I do and see the vision. Because if they see the vision and they have the same passion for it, I'm going to rock with you. Because not everybody's going to see your vision. And just because they're your blood doesn't mean they're going to see what you see.
Yeah, man.
So
I was going to ask, like, is there anything that you learned in that process throughout the years when, you invite such, family over? Is there anything else you've learned in that process when it comes to making events? And because, anyone that may be listening, maybe you're not here to, make an event, but maybe just the invitation process, maybe it's just the act of asking someone in the field of rejection, right? Because that's essentially what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else that you would say that you learned in that aspect when you make these events and you invite people and they don't come?
I always go down to God gave you the vision for a reason. So even if nobody else is seeing it or shows up at first, because you have to think, my first Deluxe event, my dinner party, only 13 people came.
Wow.
Like I was expecting just 30, but only 13 people came.
And how long ago was that?
That was
the first one?
That was 2019. August 2019 was the first one. And it was a dope event, though. People showed up, they got dressed. It's not like it was a bad event. So just because people weren't there doesn't mean it was a bad event.
Right.
So understand the difference. Because a lot of people get confused and say, oh, well, I ain't had 30, I didn't have 50 people in there. But it's also about just, how did you make the experience for the 13 people who were there? And if you make that impact, like, you're golden, because now those 13 people who felt good are going to tell their friends, or when they share about it, they're going to rave. And now everybody's going to want to come to the next one. Now everybody's going to be a part of what they missed out on, quote unquote. Because when you look at the pictures and everything, you don't see, oh, just 13 people. You see people having a great time, going on the mic, winning raffles, guest speaker telling the people about what information they can learn from. They got live music, got the DJ, we got the bar, the drinks, we got food, the chef is coming out, we got servers coming out to hand you your food. So it's just like you're a part of something, even if it's small, you're just a part of something that's impactful. And then what ended up happening next, I threw my next deluxe event at Dewey's. I was only trying to do 50.
That was lit.
First one, bro, sold out. So I'm like, all right. So
and how many was there for tickets?
For 50.
50, and that sold out.
And it sold out because I only had the top part of Dewey's that time. And then I was like, all right, well, I know if I can sell out 50, I can do more. So then I was like, well, I don't want the top part anymore because the public was still able to come into the room. I was like, I kind of want this to be this deluxe exclusive dinner party. So I'm like, I want this to feel exclusive. So I was like, you know what? I want the whole space. And got the whole space, got everybody come in there, enjoy themselves, make it a big event. They got the photos, they got the live music. So it's just, I'm really big on experience and impact because quantity doesn't always determine the impact. It doesn't. I've seen, you can go to a concert with 2,000 people and the artist flops. It'll be a bad concert. Mad people showed up. So from a financial aspect, it looks great. But from an impact, it looks horrible. Horrible. Because then it's like, oh, there's 2,000 people who just watched a bad artist.
Right.
But there's one person who gained off of it, but it's just like, that's cool. But so I guess in the moral of the story of it, it would be God gave you the vision, so execute it, even if it doesn't look like it's supposed to, because then it will. Be consistent, and don't be afraid if someone says no, or don't be afraid to ask a question because someone will potentially say no. But you have to think, no is only one answer out of a plethora of other answers that can happen. But people are so afraid that because no can be a high percentage or it's like a 50-50 chance, it's like, all right, no. It's like, okay, cool, I'll just ask the next person. But if that one person you ask, because sometimes that no can turn into a yes. So don't be so quick to just give up at the no. So it's like you have to learn that there's layers to this. And people have different mindsets. People are thinking through different processes. Because like you have a podcast, you got your enough said, you got everything going on. So if someone comes to you and it doesn't necessarily upfront align with what you're thinking, you're just gonna pass it off like, oh, okay, that's cool. Oh, all right, nice. Oh, I'm glad you think like that. Oh, that's cool. But if I start asking you questions, I always tell people, ask questions. Be the dumbest one in the room.
Yes.
Once I start asking, like, what do you have in mind? Like, I try not to talk about myself first. Like, I'll tell them briefly like what I do, but I'm like, what do you have going on? Like, what's your plans this year? Okay, what do you do? Oh, you do that? Oh, well, I do this. Have you ever thought about? Oh, okay, cool. And then they just start, because the more you allow someone to talk, and they're going to reveal the truth of what their truth is. Yeah. No matter what. And I've learned that a long time. I think I remember watching an interview with Steve Harvey, and he was saying one of the people of some top company, I can't remember who he was, but he said that he barely had 15 minutes up front. He was like, yo, you got 15 minutes. They sat down, ended up talking for 4 hours. Because the whole time he was expecting him to ask him for money. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not asking for money. I just want to sit here and give you time. And then that led to an opportunity after, because he appreciated the fact that, oh, you're not asking me for something. I'm so used to people asking me for something, and all you wanted was my time and conversation and knowledge. I appreciate that.
That is the biggest gem you just gave right now. That's the biggest gem. And the reason why I say that is because that's what happens. And that goes into the networking part. Like everything that you have with networking and all these events, it ties into the fact that this is where this comes from, right? The passion of yourself of saying like, well, you know, if you could meet someone that can help you and sort of along the way, it's more of the aspect of getting to know them first rather than feeling like you need something from them. And as you were talking, it was making me think about the quote. There was a quote that I read from is a Quadrant book, the Quadrant book from Robert Kiyosaki. There was a quote in there and it stuck with me. And it said that we need to stop thinking about more of the things we have to do and more of the person we need to be. And I was like, And if you think about it, it's really about who you are as a person is what really, you know, brings that network, right? Exactly. Is what really makes it more valuable. Because when you're able to be more genuine and authentic and just be like, hey, what you working on, or how are you feeling? How's your day? It's more genuine. It's more meaningful. And I think that even ties back in like why I even made the card game, right? Because when you ask the right questions, you go in the right direction.
Right. You invoke something and you learn something that you would have never known before. Like you would have never known about the backstory of why my name is, or why your name is your name, why you had to switch off, because it allows you to get more information out of somebody that you wouldn't have gotten before.
Exactly.
Right, because no one's going to talk about their personal life to you unless you ask. or no one's even going to even get to that point unless you allow them a space to do so.
Yeah, and it goes to the point that sometimes people have an answer for things, but they don't know if they have the answer if they haven't been asked for it. So that's why you gotta just ask the dumbest question, be the quote dumbest person in the room, right? Because there's also the quote of saying like, if you're the smartest person in the room, that means you're in the wrong room. Yeah. So like, always being around people that are a little bit more smart in a certain area. It's not saying that you're dumb in certain things, but it's just the aspect of always wanting to learn.
To learn more, being a student.
Yeah, being a student is the biggest thing, because if you always feel like you know everything, then nobody wants to be around that.
At all.
Oh, you know everything?
Right, you have an answer for everything?
Yeah.
So that means you're just going to continuously talk. Oh, okay. You're not even going to hear me out because you know it all. What do you want to know from me?
Yeah. So when you mentioned about, this felt like this is something you needed to do, you was getting into events and all that, and that wasn't really your thing.
Yeah.
Was what made you really go into feeling like you needed to do it? Of course, there's many aspects that comes into that process. Like, you're starting a business. Of course, you want to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But is there more maybe a personal reason why you felt like you had to do it?
I saw, there was this one moment where online there was this quote. It was like a meme, but it was like a picture of a lady and it had the text on the side of it. And it said something in the realm of, if you don't see something in the world that you want to see, make it. So if you see something in your mind and you're like, well, it's like, I want this to happen, but it's not in the world. Like, I don't see it anywhere. Create it. Like, don't let that just sit in your mind, because a lot of times we'll be thinking of stuff, thinking that other people are thinking of it, and we're just kind of waiting for them to do it or to take claim. Like, oh yeah, I thought about that years ago. Like, oh whatever. But it's just, if you got, and that's why I always go back. God gave you the reason, the vision for a reason, because you see it. Like, I don't see what you see. You don't see what I see. But if you see it, it's for a reason. So make it happen. And if you don't see it in the world, do it. I don't care how small it is. I don't care how big it is. Put it out. And I recently just saw an interview with Jazzy Jeff. He said, and this is from a creative aspect, he said, die empty. He said, don't hold on to nothing. Die empty. If there's an idea in your mind that you need to put out there, let it go. He said, and for music artists specifically, he said, we're never going to put out all the music that we create. Like, it's a habit. Like, I have music I haven't put out yet. I'm not like a full-blown music artist, but I got songs that I haven't put out.
Yeah.
But the point being is that don't sit here and try to make a plan out of everything you create. Just let it go. Like, if you sell some of it, make some money off of it that you feel like you can, but give out the rest. Like, let it out. And there's a producer named Jay Dilla, and he had a sickness. He was getting ready to die. But what he did is that he collaborated with so many people to the point where he's still discovering stuff that was from back then now. So you might come across somebody from like last month who found a mixtape with 5 Jay Dilla beats on it. It's like, where did you get that from? It's like, oh yeah, this is from like a time he met my cousin and he had a studio session with his son, and then he was just in there cooking and making up beats, and we just ended up finding it. But for you to find that or something of that value is if you died empty.
Right.
You gave out everything you could while you was alive. And that's why you still see or hear music from like old artists from the 90s or whatever, and it's new and released, and it's like, where did this come from?
Right.
It's like, oh, because he was cooking up. He had a whole 5 hard drives full of stuff.
Right.
So
yeah, it reminds me, like, for example, Juice WRLD. He put out a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he went crazy with it.
And that's why you still hear songs with him on the chorus or having a whole verse with Kanye or DJ Khaled. And it's like, where did this come from? He's gone. It's like, oh, he's already had it. He's been working. He's been cooking. So now they're just taking pieces of what he's made to try to keep his name alive. So
I love that you say that, because it's all about the way that you reframe and the perspective that you give yourself. Because someone might hear, oh, die empty. Sounds like, oh, that means I'm lonely. That means I have nothing. But is the creative standpoint of just like be able to let everything go. Like, and I think it goes back to, whoever is listening, it's about whatever you have, you just put it a little bit. Don't expect for it to be the biggest thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be. Sometimes, like even from your story, right? You went from wanting to do just music and just production, and then now you are producing a whole bunch of other things. We're talking about events. We're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about scholarships. We're talking about youth empowerment. Like the sky is not our limit. It's our point of view.
Exactly.
So I love that aspect, because it almost makes me think about how, like, whatever it is that I feel, just let it out.
Just let it out.
And what I also love is you say vision a lot, and visionary acts is your business. Go ahead, show the chain. What's that? That's a chain right there. Hold on, that's a custom made chain.
But my mom got me this.
Oh yeah?
So I didn't buy this. The chain I had before this, I was just watching like was like a gold-plated gold chain. I would just throw on every single day, whatever, just to wear. But my mom got me this one day. I was at my office. This is when I was at the Eastville Mall. I was partnered with Gifted Tones. I had my section in the mall. Had like the own photo booth and a corner.
Yeah.
And my mom came one day. I didn't even expect it. She was like, "Hey, son, I just want to present this to you. It's on video." And she was just like, this is for all the hard work and dedication, all the years that you've done, and that it's not in vain. And then she like opened. It was like this brown leather small box, and then she opened it and it had the chain in it.
Wow, it was almost like you got proposed, bro.
By my mom. Right. But it was dope. But when I tell you, like, I have not taken it off because it means this much to me. It was just like, because it showed that. Not only like my mom saw the vision, she saw what I was going to, but she knew I was taking a risk. So my mom, she was always someone that would say, "Hey, make sure you have a 9-to-5 so you have a stable income. Make sure you have a 9-to-5. Make sure you have a stable income." And I'm like, I get it, but I always felt like at a certain point, it just wasn't for me, and I didn't feel like I was getting paid my value. That's why I ended up quitting in 2018. I was an inventory specialist at Staples. I was pretty much third in charge in the stores because I had to come in, I had to count the store, had to go and bring the inventory into the store, unravel it, pack it back into the store, make sure it's good, and then make sure nothing's damaged or damaged. So I'm doing everything, but I was only getting paid $12.80 an hour. And I'm like, and at that time I was doing photo shoots for like $25 an hour. So even though that's not a big realm, but just even in that mindset, I was saying to myself, I was like, if I just really go hard on my own and just do these photo shoots and do these graphics, and like I have multiple elements to my business. It's not like I'm just stuck on one. So it's like, if I can't do photos, I can do graphics. If I can't do graphics, I can do video. If I can't do video, I can do audio and record and make production. If I can't do audio and production, I can throw an event. Or if I can't throw an event, I can sell clothes. So no matter what, I'm able to have some type of source of income from my business that's all in one entity. But that's why I try to interconnect everything so everything makes sense.
Right.
So
as you were saying that, it was making me think about the conversation I had with my uncle. Shout out to the uncles, right?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
talking
shout
about
out.
uncles. Shout out to the uncles. He was telling me, like, you always want to have multiple streams of income, right? You always want to have multiple options of doing things. If you can't do this, you can do that. If you can't do that, you go do this. And if you have this, you could then do that. And then you got two things. Because we live in a vast world where everything's so fast.
Exactly.
And with everything being so fast, we sometimes could get caught up just on one thing. And being able to have that one thing, if we have something else coming in, we at least have something back us up so that we could keep focusing on this area. When it came to like you building your team and stuff like that, how did that start? I think you quitting your job from Staples and then making that initiative is a very scary moment. What was going through your head in that moment, and what was that one word that you told yourself that was like, yeah, this is why I'm valuable?
Well, I wouldn't say exactly why I'm valuable, because I would say like,
nah, you valuable, bro.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You valuable. I said it. I'll do it for you.
And I appreciate it, but just speaking from the insecure boy growing up, right? So where it's like I knew I was talented, like I knew I was gifted, I was able to do things, but it's being in a position where either you wasn't necessarily given the opportunity or the knowledge in the earlier stages, so where you feel like, oh, if I would have known this sooner, I would have moved differently. Or like, oh, I wouldn't have waited this long to make this next step.
Right.
Or I got this information, I would have implemented it the day I got it. But it was just more of, I had to just keep pushing forward. Like, even in the times that I didn't feel valuable, I just felt like I needed to just keep going. Because I knew that the people around me was getting impacted by the stuff. I was getting real good responses from what I was doing for people. So I knew what I had was something.
As you were saying, though, as being able to have that moment where like you felt a little insecure, right? Yeah. I think we all come from that moment too.
Yeah, and I think it's natural, right? But it's also a battle, because you can really fall into that, because it all goes into a personal level. Everything starts within. Like, your business started within you, and you created it. So even if people try to say, oh, it's business and personal, it's two separate things, which they are, but that business came from that person, and that business is a representation of who that person is. Unless he separated it from his personality, but even so, that still is a representation of who he is, because he's allowing this business to be in the world. Whether he's like, well, it's just a money grab. Okay, cool. That's a representation of who you are. You like money grabs. You like being able to set up a business that works on its own. So you have a mindset of entrepreneurship or business. Okay, so where else does that dig deeper? But you just have to push through the whole phase of it, and just not allow your personal insecurities or your personal flaws stop you from growing. So you just have to always push through no matter what. Like, no excuses.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Because even for myself, I thought about where I'm at right now. Like, I would have never thought I had a card game, podcast, all these
Right.
things, and I think about
And
who
you
I
sold,
am.
first of all, can we also tell that this man sold how many? 300?
Nearly 300 now.
Nearly 300 to the Springfield Public Schools. And now this is going to be one of the staple things that are happening in the Springfield Public Schools.
Yep.
I'm going to just let that settle in. He's not going to mention it. He's just going to act like that didn't happen. But because my fault, not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But when I think of stuff like that, it just reminds me of like when I was a kid and I would always see these books. Like there's these designated books that they have in school where you're in first grade, whether you're in second grade, whether it's Moby Dick, whether it's that caterpillar when you was in elementary school.
Love that one.
Right.
The Hungry Caterpillar.
The Hungry Caterpillar pillar. And even when you grow up to like middle school when they have I read one book of Stone Cold, but I don't know if that was a school book. But
I was getting here.
But did you what was that? It was not the Underdog. It was like this. It was this.
I feel like
it was like this Italian mob book, and it was the under. Nah, I can't remember. But I remember I was in it was 7th grade, and they gave out the book. But it was like it was like the Italians had the grease hair, the leather jackets. But either way, but like I said, they have these designated books, and this just reflected that for me. To say, yo, I'm happy and I'm excited that if I go into a school one day or a kid might come home one day and say, oh, I was playing Enough Said. And it's like, oh, well, you can go get that from the store or get it from someone. He's local. It's like, oh, where he's local? Oh, okay, cool. And then they try. So that's how I imagine things, because I'm not only just, oh, you made the sale to the school and that's where it ends. It's like, nah, bro, like you're making an impact, and they bought it because they felt like, oh, this is a great.
Yeah.
Icebreakers are one of the main things that happen in school.
Yeah.
Literally. So you just created something and you found a niche and you implemented it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I always try to tell people is like, yo, find your niche. It doesn't matter what it is. You can like toilet paper. You can like socks. You can like dirt on the floor. There's a reason for everything. Like people who like dirt ended up becoming landscapers.
See, this is the reason why I love you, though.
Right. So
I'm showcasing him. He's showcasing me now. And I love it here. No, I appreciate that.
No
And, it is true. Like, to even say more, like they even were able to put me as a vendor. So when they have events, I'll be able to get notified about these events and be able to show up and be a vendor at whatever event they have. So I'm definitely grateful, definitely blessed, and that's just breaking the ice.
That's breaking the ice.
Yeah, breaking the ice for
Enough
sure.
said.
Enough said. There you go. I was thinking too. Because you're thinking about the whole aspect of growing your business and where you're at right now and all the things that kind of just fell into fruition without even knowing it was.
Yeah.
Coming across people that you're trying to learn from, because in that aspect you're trying to learn, right? You got out of a situation, you're like, all right, this is the time to grow. Reading books and podcasting and stuff like that, mentorship.
Yeah.
What was that like, finding someone that you can probably look up to? Was there someone that you listened to on podcasts, books, or did you have a mentor?
Right. So I had mentors growing up. I'll be honest, I didn't read the most. As in, like, I did read, but I wasn't the person to be like, oh, well, go get this book to go get something, because I was more of like a task-based person. Like, I'm a worker. So it's like, oh, if it's something that needs to get done, I'm going to get it done. Like, that's me.
You had to break out of that aspect, task, mindset.
Right, because you can get stuck and not really and focus on what it is and not being able to grow outside of it, because you're like, well, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, you need to figure out what you need to do,
right,
and then do what you're supposed to do.
You're so used to the task where like you get told what to do, like in such retail, that you don't know where to go. So.
Exactly, right. Just finding a way to go. So if I was to I'm trying to think where I was going with this.
You were talking about mentors, and you said you had mentors.
Right. So in the mentors I had honestly, I had a mentor for almost every single part of my business. So with music and video, music was my uncle. So that's the first mentor. He taught us production. Shout out to the uncles.
Yeah.
He taught us production, and when it came to the video, my uncle's boy who shot videos for him, he ended up becoming my mentor. And he taught me how to use the camera. He mainly taught me how to edit videos, like, because I was first doing music videos. So he was teaching me how to chop it, how to use multicam so you can be able to switch out the video on certain chops that you want to do. The program, I still use that program to this day. Sony Vegas. Like, that's the main program I use for editing. That's my software. I love it. I love it because it acts as a DAW, which is like an audio program. And you can edit audio, you can do the track equalizations, you can compress. So not only on the visual aspect, you can fix it in color grading, but if you don't like the sound, you can edit the sound as well.
Nice.
And it started off as an audio program. So that starting off as an audio program and then becoming a video service, I think that just boosted it up that much more, and it fits for me because there's other programs I use and it's really visual focused and not really focused on the functionality of the audio, but they all have their benefits because then their visual aspect is crazier than what I have, but it's all about what you use and how you use it. So yeah, and I had my mentor. It was Chris Lavelle, so he was my first mentor in video, and then I went to photography after, and Bernard Jackson, we actually used to dance together at the MOK, and he got into
what kind of dancing?
Crump.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you know how to crump?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Nah, it's a-
yeah, my big, yeah, we get into that.
You can be my mentor.
I don't know if I want to be a big homie, but but the thing is, I used to be a big homie where I used to like have people under me that would teach dance and so on and so forth. But I have a big homie who's still prominent in the crump game still. But going back to Bernard, he was one of the people I was with, and he got into photography. And when I saw him get into it, because I knew it was expensive, like photography was expensive then, it's expensive now. Didn't change. But I was like, well, if he's willing to get into it and he's able to, and he comes from the same like realm of where I'm from, I was like, shoot, why can't I? So then he was like, all right, well, you know video, and I don't really know video, so let's try to exchange services or exchange skills. I'm like, all right, bet. So we kind of just mentored each other in a sense. Then when I started doing photography, he told me, he said, well, you got to do graphics because you have to learn how to edit the photos. I said, okay, well, all right, let me start going to class for that. My first passion was drawing. Like ever since kindergarten all the way up to like middle school, even now, it's like my passion is art, like sketch art that's my thing. And then I started getting into it. So I'm like, well, graphics is just digital art. I just implement what I do on a physical realm and put it into digital. It then just started building off of that.
Yeah.
And then I had a mentor, Orlando Rivera Jr., and he started teaching me like all the shortcuts and the business element of how I can scale the graphic element. He's the one who taught me how to sell a $1,000 logo.
Wow.
Because mind you, at that time I was only selling logos for like $125. Like, hey, I just need a $125 logo. I'll design it for you, whatever, and I'll send it off. And at that time, that seemed like a lot. It was like, oh, $125, like that's a decent price for logos. But
Right.
he was like, yeah, he said I charged like $1,500 for a logo, and they paid.
Right.
And I was like, $1,500? Like, how'd you? But he was telling me, he said, but there's elements, there's layers to it. So, for example, he didn't say it to me in this way, but I'm bringing it to this example. There's a McDonald's burger, and there's like a Red Robin's or a Ruth Chris burger. Like there's different, like what the McDonald's burger is made out of is cool, but compared to the Ruth Chris burger is a little bit different. It has a little bit more recipe and a quality to it. So there's a little bit more packed into it. Like with the logos, I can just give you a JPEG with a white background and say, hey, here's your logo. Or I can give you the JPEG, I can give you the logo with a transparent background. I can give you different versions of what your logo is. So it can be the black and white version, the color version, grayscale, whatever the case may be. Then I can create a brand kit. So now with the brand kit, now I'm not only showing you what your logo looks like, I'm allowing people to understand what your logo means. So now it's like, all right, well, why did you put the triangle in the middle of the logo? Or why did you use these two letters? Okay, why are you using these colors? Do these colors represent anything? All right, do you use yellow because you're trying to alert the people? Do you use red because you want to let people know it sticks out? Do you use blue because it's more of a trusting color? Do you want people to trust what you have going on? Do you use purple for royalty? Do you use green? Like there's color theories to everything.
Yeah, there's colors of psychology.
Exactly. So now, so when you do the brand kit, so now as I'm building the value around that, the price goes up because now I'm not only giving you something that is just a design. I'm giving you purpose. I'm giving you a value. I'm giving you something that means something. So when you bring this to other entities or higher corporations, this is what they look for.
They can see the vision.
Exactly. So now you don't have to explain it to them no more because a lot of people, they only have about 10, 15 minutes of time. If that, you might even get 30 seconds. Because all right, well, if you only got 30 seconds of my time, of your time that I can have, let me just give you this sponsorship deck. Well, let me just send you over the information so when you have time, you can look over it because I can't explain to you a full event or proposition in 30 seconds, but I got to give you my elevator pitch and I got to give you something to leave with before you go.
Right.
So
always knowing how to insert yourself and being around people that can allow you to know how to insert yourself is a big thing. I remember there was so this guy's famous, by the way. You know, he's all over the internet and stuff. You know. Now I'm showcasing you. Now it's your turn. There was a forum saying that you worked with certain artists and stuff like that. I think Fabulous was one of them, right? How was that experience like, and how did you come across him?
So that was I got booked for a gig with Kenny from King of Clubs, and he hired me because he was bringing Fabulous to Mass Mutual Center, and he wanted me to take care of the media. So I hired a team of photographers. They did video. I was doing the photography, and I hired a video. It was Ethan and Gabe, and I did the work, but I'm behind the scenes a lot. So there was a point where the video crew left, but it was just me behind. Actually, they followed me all the way through. And I just started growing with his manager. I connected with his photographer because after I was done doing the photos and everything, he wanted the photos so he can post. So I was like, all right, well, I need to reach out to the photographer or to the main guy. I forget his name, but his manager, I needed to contact him. I couldn't reach him, but I got the photographer, and the photographer was able to get Fab to get the photos. And he posted them. I added them. He liked them. Def Jam ended up reposting Fabulous and tagged me in it too. So the connection started building. And then my brother, I don't know if that was a piece of it or if that influenced because of the area we're in, but my brother, he ended up getting a song produced with Fabulous. There's a song called Snooze. Snooze. So if you look up Fabulous Snooze, my brother made that beat. And he made that connection just like through other pockets. Like there's so many small pockets of like conversations that happen to get to that main point. It's not like, it's not always like, I sent it to him, he responded, and then I got the placement.
Right.
Like sometimes it would be where my brother produced for one of his friends, or it'll be a friend of Fabulous's artist. Or and then like for 38 Special, my brother got a production from him. 38 Special was seeing him from a guy named Shooter in New York. And Shooter, he posted the song that my brother made the beat for, and then 38 Special commented under it. So if he's commenting under it, that means he's connected to that people in some form. He's following them. He's, whether it's the artist or someone they grew up with, he's connected to him somehow. So he's paying attention to this specific artist. So then now he's like, all right, well, if I keep putting my beats out, and he saw who produced it, he's watching my page. So then he started watching his page, and then this 38 Special started reaching out to him like, yo, send me the track stumps to this. So then he worked out their little business information. Fab, similar thing, just sending them emails, and he's like, yo, send me the full track stems, But it's just allowing yourself to be seen in whatever realm, whether it's through somebody that you was connected with, or if that helped you influence, whatever, you just have to be prepared and ready, because that's building relationships, what gets you everywhere. Like that's what got me in the way that I am. Like I've looked out for people. I've tried to take care and maintain relationships to make sure that they feel good in what we do, and that there's not a bad name tarnished on when you think about my name. Because the one thing I've seen, and it became the demise of a lot of people, is that they'll have great quality and they'll be able to do great work, but either their personal or their business side ruins their name. There's so many people, I'm not going to say names, but there's a couple of videographers that my old customers came back to me complaining about them, saying, yo, they do bad business, they do bad work, or I don't really like how it came out, or I just never got the footage. Like I've heard that before. It's like, yo, I've shot that like 2 years ago and I still don't got the footage.
Right.
So you can have great work and be seen, but and that's why I say how you are as a person ends up reflecting who you are in your business. But people try to separate it, but it's like you can separate it to an extent of finances, but not from like content and quality.
Right. Content quality and the creativeness of how he was even built in the first place.
Exactly, because there's all intention. Everybody has intention when they make something, no matter what.
Yes, attention, intention. You have to pay attention to your intention. Because that is what is allowing you to connect to the people, right? That I also say, like, for the car game, I always say that it's an extension of myself, because I love people, I love communicating, and as an extrovert that I am, I always wanted to, have a conversation with someone. Like I tell like my barber, I've been going in for like 5 years, 6 years, and he only speaks Spanish, so I practice my Spanish with him. Because I'm like, mira, mi español, it's getting good. I say something like that. Mi español is getting bueno, ¿verdad? Yeah, yo entiendo a ti. And it's just like the big word.
Papi.
Yeah, entiendo, papi. And he understands a little bit of English, but I think what's fun about it is that I know that I'm not good at something, and I'm working on it, and I'm taking the consistency of it so that I can get better at it. And I think that goes back as a business. That goes back as an individual. Like, it's okay that, things, there's those up and downs, right? But ups and downs is what allows you to know what's up. Right? When you're down, you're able to see at the top. And when you're able to put that perspective, it allows you to keep on going. Because for you, you've been doing it ever since 2018, 19, right? When you left out of Staples, right? And look how far it's got you. You worked with, you have great people that work around you, and even though you make invitations, it's like, well, that's not going to stop me, because like you said, is the mindset you give yourself that maybe not everybody might see the vision,
Right.
but is the fact that, you know, I'm doing my due diligence because I see the vision.
Exactly.
And that's what matters the most.
Right, because God gave it to me. So
I love it. It's God-given.
God-given.
You know, it's half God-given and the other one is half mankind.
Exactly.
You know, so you need to be able to see what God has given you and able to apply that, because God is able to put you in this physical world to make things real.
Exactly.
You know what
and
I mean?
That's why in the scripture it says faith without work is dead.
I love it. I love it. So you're in for a treat, my friend.
All right.
Yes.
Talk about the street. Okay. What we got going on?
Yo, bro, you're too funny. So there's a new segment that I got.
Okay.
And it's called Rally Rapid Words. So I have
Really rapid words.
Rally Rapid Words.
Okay.
So I got 10 words that I'm going to prompt you.
Okay.
And with every word that I give you, you just want to give me the first word that comes to your head.
Okay.
First word that comes to your head.
Okay.
And of course, try to steer around what it's relevant to it. But
Okay, right.
there's no rules to this.
Okay,
Okay,
but
Whatever.
just like, so is it one word? Is it a phrase?
Whatever comes to your head.
Whatever comes to my head.
Just
Okay.
a quick response.
Okay.
All right, we're doing it rapid.
All right.
We're good.
All right, here
You
we
drink
go.
water? I need some.
I might need it. Yo, you seen that video where the dude was like trying to get the bottle fast? He was like,
Oh yeah, I seen that. And then he was doing that so he could try to steal it from his
so-
wife.
right.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, what is this?
What's going on?
That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. All right.
All right. So first word,
Okay.
family,
Forever.
forever. Love that. Forever together. Wellness,
Important.
communication.
Honesty.
Enough said. Secure.
Protection.
Why was I thinking that? Get out my head. Spirituality.
Guidance.
Love it. Love.
Unconditional.
Abundance.
Prosperity.
Liberation.
Freedom.
Loyalty.
Hard to come by.
Leadership.
More than one thing came to my head. That's why.
You could do
So,
it.
right,
This is the last one.
Right. So leadership is not only guidance, but it's a way of life. So if I was to say leadership, a way of life.
The way of life.
Yeah. Because you can be a boss and not be a leader.
That is true.
A boss tells you what to do. A leader is there with you doing it.
Enough said. I love it. Everybody, Darius Johnson. Yes, I hope you guys got something from this episode, because, man, Darius was giving out gems. He was giving out perspective. He was giving out the framework so that you can be creative, so that you can see the vision for yourself. And I just love his visionary acts.
Yes, sir.
You have the vision. You need to act on it.
Act on your vision.
Act on your vision. I
Yep.
love it. I absolutely love it. We want to do a quick announcement because there's something that's coming up really important. If you missed out on NYBU, we got Deluxe coming, but there's something different about Deluxe this year.
Yeah.
And Darius, I want you to tell us what is
Okay.
different this year for Deluxe.
So Deluxe is usually just a dinner party. So the whole purpose of it was to not only promote networking, but to promote the chef. So the goal was it to just, promote the person who's cooking the food, giving them their props so they can gain more business, and obviously within the networking. But this one is a little bit different. It's more of a guided tour and a luxury business mixer. Gotcha. So it's more like a guided tour and a luxury business mixer. So now we're going to be taking people from Western Mass and bringing them into the Boston market. So we're creating a curated tour where we'll start from the Basketball Hall of Fame, go all the way up into Boston, and then we're going to stop at a historical museum, and then we're going to do another pit stop, get some food at P&R restaurant. So we're going to get some patties, some light food, and then we're going to go to these two distilleries and a brewery that are in Boston. So we're going to have some flights already set up for you guys. And then after that, we're going to do a little final appetizer, go to the Mix. So the Mix has great food. We're going to do like lobster sliders, salmon sliders, chicken sliders, wings, fries. So it kind of holds you over before the actual mixer. And then there's going to be about an hour and a half approximately. I might be missing one thing, but an hour and a half approximately, to where you can be able to go change and get dressed up, because you're going to be out all day, and get ready for the mixer. And then the mixer is going to be from 6:30 to 9:30, and that's when it's like where everybody is there together, from the people who came from Massachusetts to the Boston market to the business owners. Everybody's going to be in that one room. Yep. And then after that, if you were a part of the tour, at 9:30 we get ready to hop on the bus. 10 o'clock they take you home.
Nice. That is so awesome. So for everyone that is listening,
Yeah.
where do they go to get these tickets?
Okay, so you can get the tickets at bit.ly/DLUX 2025. So bit.ly/Deluxe 2025 on Eventbrite.
Yes, and anybody that's listening, I'll make sure I put it all in the description wherever you're listening on any platform so you guys can access that. Is there any early bird specials? Because I know that sometimes
Yes.
there's an early bird and then regular.
Yep, there's definitely early bird.
So let us know what's the difference.
All right, so we got the early bird tickets is going for 50, and then the full tour where all you gotta do is just kick up. You don't got to spend a dime. Pull out your wallet. It's going for $250.
That's not bad. It's just like sit back and relax.
Yo, when you hop on the bus, you don't got to pull out your wallet. Everything's given to you.
Nice.
Like from the time you hop on the bus until you go home, you don't got to touch nothing.
Look at that. So it's all organized for you. All you have to do is make the initiative and make sure you get the early special because this is the first time first time
doing something like
you might
this.
as well, break the ice with him.
Enough said.
Yep, there you go. And yeah, Boston, why not? Like there's a whole tour about it. You're gonna be with people,
Right?
And it's just a good time,
right? And I really just want to. My main goal for that is to just get people to meet new people in different networks. Because the one thing I realize is that everybody who's in certain areas are always looking to reach to other people to connect because they're just trying to get in a new room that they haven't been in it before. So if I can get a bunch of organizations and companies to be able to come and support my event and show up, and I can bring people from Western Mass to get into that room, y'all know how many lives can be changed at that moment just by having a simple conversation. There's rooms I've been in, like actually Colin Knight from Live Like a Local Tours Boston. He's helping me guide the tour for the Deluxe, but I met him at White Lion when it first opened at the grand opening, and I met him because he was just doing a news article on Ray Berry because it was the first black-owned brewery, and he does like black brewery dialogues. So he did an interview, got on news, whatever. But I was talking to him. I was like, "Yo, where you from?" He's like, "I'm from Boston. I do this tours." I was like, "Where?" I was like, "Yeah, we should connect. Let's exchange because I want to see what you got going on." And he's actually the reason I got onto Martha's Vineyard for the first time because he's like, "Yo, I got this Black Biz tour I got going on Martha's Vineyard. I don't really have a budget for it, but if you work with me, we'll keep going." And I'm like, "Well, I've never been to Martha's Vineyard before, and this is a dope opportunity." And it's a black biz tour. They have a Martha's Vineyard Black Business Directory to where all the black businesses are on the island. Like this one company called Sideline, India Rose, she has it and she runs it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so if you're able to get me in this network, I'm good. And then after that, when I tell you I have continuous business on the vineyard, like I went there at least 3-4 times after that, and this was within the past few years.
Dope. See, it's all about connections,
relationship, and so that's why if I knew that someone from Boston can come and impact my life just by simply having a conversation with them on downtown Springfield at White Lion, imagine what we can do in Boston.
Right.
So that's how I think.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. And one more thing. So when does that take place?
So it happens March 22nd. It is going to be the tour starts at 10 o'clock, but the tour starts at 10. If you just want to go to the mixer, that's also a thing as well, and that starts at 6:30.
All right, cool. Yeah, everybody, we'll make sure we put all the description down below, so just in case you guys have any questions. You can also contact Darius for any questions as well and his team.
See, I'm slipped up now.
I did.
I heard that. I was saying, don't make me do a flashback on this. I was saying, we just talked about it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for this, and I'm also just really honored for you to come on here, especially just the second time because first time with some hiccups. If you guys are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, make sure that you continue to follow the podcast, and also give Darius a follow as well. He has a whole bunch of services. We're talking about videography, photography. He knows how to put videos together as well. So if you have an event coming up, he's a person to go to, and he also has events himself. So you just gotta stay tuned in. So is there any last words before we go?
Nah, just thank you for having me, man. It's always an honor to be here, and I appreciate you always.
It's love, man. It's love. Until next time, you guys be easy. Peace. There it is.
Sir.
Oh, matter of fact,
What up?
this is gonna be part of it. We just dab. I got a present for you. What size are you in shirts?
2X.
2X?
Yeah.
What color? White, black, blue?
Ooh, I do a lot of black already. You said white. What kind of blue?
Royal blue. Like my color blue. Like almost this, but a little lighter.
Give me blue. Let me switch
Blue?
that. I do a lot of
2X?
black. Yeah, I do a lot of black. Let me get the blue, man.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get the blue, man.
Oh yeah. 2X.
Yeah, what you got, man? You over here cheating, huh? You got
Over here cheating.
You got a product, huh?
Got you right
Yo,
here.
did I give you any socks yet?
You said what?
Do you have a pair of Visionary X socks?
I don't.
All right, I'm gonna get you some next time I see you.
All right, bet. So this is on camera
Yeah.
because we want to see your reaction.
Yeah,
Here you go.
Oh, this man got the frosted bag and all that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, and you got the paper on the inside for protection? Oh, okay.
Go ahead. What does it say?
Keep moving. Oh, no, this is hard.
Yup. Got a little thing in the back, too. Little thing. Whoop, whoop.
You got the logo on the back? Okay. Nah, this is hard.
Yeah, that's for you, my guy.
Keep,
Yes,
see,
sir.
now I got, ooh.
Positive state of mind is like a license plate.
I got shoes for these.
Yup. And then in the
got
inside
shoes
of
for
that
these.
shirt, there's a QR code that you can
I
scan.
peeped that.
Yeah, you scan that, and there's an exclusive episode to a podcast where we're talking about positivity and stuff. Yeah, bro. You're welcome. This is love. I love it.
I ain't gonna lie, this is fire.
You like that?
That's fire. The barcode part is fire.
Yeah, bro.
Nah, this is dope.
Yeah, man.
Nah.
I'm glad you like it.
Nah, I
Come on,
appreciate you.
give me love. Give me love. Give me
Appreciate
love.
you, brother.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Appreciate you.
It's dope, bro.
Okay, now we can go. Until next time, you guys be easy.
Holla at
Peace.
y'all, man. Yes, sir. Make sure you get your gear, man.
There you go. There
Keep
you go.
moving. You know the vibes.
Keep moving. Positive state of mind.
Yes, sir.
Okay, love you guys. Deuces.